Welcome to Tech for Sustainable Development, a podcast where we explore how digital innovation is transforming lives and shaping a better future for all. It's being brought to you by ITU, the United Nations Agency for Digital Technologies. And we're going to be diving into the power of technology as a force for good in the world. I'm your host, Max Jacobson Gonzalez, and in this episode, we're turning our focus to WTDC 25. WTDC stands for the World Telecommunication Development Conference, for those of you uninitiated. WTDC 25 is a major global gathering organized by the International Telecommunication Union's Telecommunication Development Sector. WTDC 25 will be hosted by the Government of Azerbaijan from the 17th to the 28th of November. And joining us today is the Director of ITU's Telecommunication Development Bureau, Dr. Cosmas Zavazava. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio, Cosmas.
Thank you, Max.
And we'll be going to be exploring the key themes driving the agenda of WTDC 25 and hear how this conference is mobilizing global collaboration, which is what we're all about, to connect the unconnected and accelerate progress towards a digital future for all. So, as I say, very welcome to the studio, Cosmas.
Thank you, Max.
Cosmas, I'd like to start off by asking you to tell us a little bit about WTDC 25.
Well, thank you very much for having me. WTDC 25 coincides with our celebration for 160 years of existence as ITU, but it also coincides with 30 plus celebration following the establishment of the Development Bureau. WTDC 25 is built around the theme universal, meaningful and affordable connectivity for an inclusive and sustainable digital future. And we are excited. Chief among its objectives is to accelerate efforts to connect the remaining 2.6 billion people who remain offline, so that we can open doors to new opportunities for them in terms of choice and also in terms of socio-economic development. WTDC 25 will shape the direction of the digital development for the next 4 years. It will adopt a series of outcomes. One is the declaration. The second one is the ITU development sector strategic plan as it contributes to the overall strategic plan of ITU. It will also identify topics and adopt what we call regional initiatives, which means priorities for any particular region that go beyond the interest of one country.
And how important is that declaration that you mentioned?
The declaration is important. It speaks to the outside world. People who are not tech savvy and who are not necessarily in our constituency, because we believe at the center of what we do is digital, and digital should be a catalyst in the ecosystem, in health, in agriculture, in environment, etc. So it is very important.
And in terms of the conversation, what's shaping the conversation as we gear up for WTDC 25?
Well, we are excited that we have about 5.5 billion people who are connected. And although they are connected, we are worried about their security. So building confidence and trust is very important. Making sure that everyone has the digital skills that come with their connectivity is important. But we are also interested in making sure that those who are connected use their connectivity more meaningfully. For example, do they engage in electronic commerce? Do they receive government services, etc.? Do they participate in the affairs of the state? So it is very important. I think we are privileged to be at the center stage and to be driving the progress of society, particularly the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals.
And I mean, you mentioned security. I mean, I think it's a very important topic there. I mean, not a day goes by without an email coming in asking, to you to log in somewhere. And for people who may not be paying too much notice, of course, that's a very difficult thing. I know that BDC has also organized a global cybersecurity exercises and things like that. I mean, that must be definitely one of the key topics there that needs to be addressed then.
Absolutely. So on security matters, we are concerned about child online protection. And
Right.
of course, we developed guidelines which are being translated by individual countries into their local languages to make sure that there is a universal adoption and understanding. But also, just to let you know that this year we had a huge global cybersecurity cyber drill in Dubai, where we managed to bring 136 countries. And we won actually 11 Guinness Book records that we broke during that time. So we are quite excited. And regionally, we are also helping countries. And in country, we are building sets, computer incident response teams, to make sure that they are well prepared. And whether a woman, a man, elderly or young, people will be safe when they go online.
Excellent. And what are the outcomes that you expect from WTDC 2025?
From WTDC 25, we are excited. We think there will be continuation on the 5 topics that were adopted in 2022 in Kigali, Rwanda. One of them being, of course, universal connectivity, which is meaningful but also affordable for the people. So connectivity in terms of infrastructure is very important, but developing digital skills for people to be able to use those skills and deal with the emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, big data, etc., is also critical.
Now, and we can understand universal connectivity, but what does the meaningful part really mean to you?
The meaningful part is, what is the value addition that comes with your connectivity? Are you just surfing the net and sending emails? That's not so meaningful. It's run of the mill. We would like people to use their connectivity in enhancing their life. For example, in education, when we had the Ebola and when we had COVID, many people were restricted to their homes. Can they still continue their normal life being connected like that? So that is meaningful. Otherwise, the connectivity would be just casual connectivity, doing things that do not measure up to your day-to-day life. So that is basically what we mean by that.
Sorry, I jumped in. And in terms of the outcomes that you expect,
and the second topic, of course, of high importance is digital transformation. And as you know, one of our strategic ITU strategic goals is sustainable digital transformation. So we put a lot of effort in that regard, but we also have what we call enabling environment. It is our role to create an enabling environment. As the technology gallops, we want the policymakers and the regulators to be able to play referee so that there is order on the marketplace. So having said that, I want to say next month we will be in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where we have all the regulators in the world under one roof, discussing the guidelines for the future in regulation. And as you know, we are now at the stage of G5 regulation, so where there is a collaborative regulation. All the regulators in the ecosystem should be working hand in hand with the regulators in the tech industry.
Exactly. I was going to say, unless the knowledge is being shared, unless they're getting the right guidance, the regulation, of course, is very difficult. And the speed of the technology and innovation at the moment, of course, makes it a very difficult job, I can imagine, for a regulator.
Absolutely. So we are excited because we have got over 1,000, as you may know, sector members coming from private sector, industry, and academia as well, and they will be showcasing their innovations before we start the GSR. So the day before, we will have industry meeting and also expressing themselves as to what they expect a modern regulation to look like. And this will be presented to the regulators themselves. We will have a high segment made out of policymakers, ministers, having discussions with the regulators with the industry chiefs, and making sure that there is coherence in the marketplace for the benefit of the public. So we are very much excited. And the third or fourth element relates to international cooperation. We are an intergovernmental organization, and it's important to bring all the stakeholders, including other sister UN agencies, to the table so that we help them to use digital to accelerate whatever they are doing. Resource mobilization is very critical. And I should say that over the past 2 years, we managed to raise over 65 million extra budgetary Swiss francs.
Amazing. Yeah.
Which is unprecedented. But also we have managed to bring in over 139 new sector members and none of the existing ones have pulled out or fallen off the page. So we are quite excited. We try to capitalize on the new members and groom them to become sector members, but also partners, so that we may continue to have and implement impactful projects across the globe.
And I know that you prepare for these conferences by having regional conferences and that kind of thing, and you in regional consultations and briefings, etc. I mean, to the general public, we hold a lot of different conferences. I'm not just saying us, but I'm saying international organizations. Why do you think the WTDC is a key one and very important for the world?
Well, so just for those who are not familiar, the World Telecommunication Development Conference is the highest conference in the development sector. It is a statutory conference. The director of the development sector is required by the membership to report on the implementation of the previous action plan, which is the Kigali Action Plan adopted at WTDC 2022, and we will happily do so. So we have been going around all the 6 regions. For the Arab region, we were in Jordan. For Europe, we were in Budapest. For the Asia and the Pacific, we were in Bangkok. And for the Americas, in Paraguay. And for Africa, we were in Nairobi, Kenya. And for the CIS region, we were in Kyrgyzstan. So the membership is quite au fait with the progress that we have been making. But it is a statutory requirement that I present a comprehensive report, and also highlighting the challenges that we encountered and its possible solutions, so that when the conference actually gears into the future, we'll be looking at the declaration, which has got to be short, apt, and very simple for people to understand, not too techy. Secondly, we will be looking at the strategic plan, the resolutions that we'll be adopting, but also future study questions, because study groups do tremendous work. They are the intellectual arm of the development sector.
Indeed. And I mean, I presume also it must be difficult though to I mean, you're laying out plans for the future, but technology is advancing at such a great pace. Not everybody is being able to keep up with it. So I'm guessing that that's really the aim, is essentially to make sure that everybody is there's a level playing field essentially for everyone there.
Absolutely. So there are a number of challenges that or gaps that we work towards bridging. One of them is the digital divide, which has been on the table for many years. That speaks to the infrastructure development, and that's where you find things like space coming in, submarine cables coming in, and the resilience and vulnerability. And then you will also find things like quantum, AI, etc., etc. So it is a very important element that we look at. We want to make sure that industry has an opportunity. When we create an enabling environment, industry has the incentive to invest. But the regulators too have a role, because they are the ones who have what we call Universal Service Fund, which is a package which is available to any operator who is reluctant to go to remote areas because there is no guaranteed return on investment. So they will subsidize. And once they do that, we would make real progress in bridging the infrastructure gap. But we also have the digital skills gap. Many people remain ignorant. We have many mechanisms to equip them with modern skills that will help them to embrace the new technologies. The ITU Academy, with thousands and thousands of courses and helping millions and millions across the globe for free. And then we have the digital transformation centers, which target marginalized communities, particularly rural. And we have got the ITU Academy training centers, which target middle and upper management in governments, so that we can have a 360 degrees approach. So that concerns us, but urban-rural divide remains quite a challenge. We also are concerned that some regions are lagging behind in terms of gender gap, but we are making very good progress. As you know, on the 24th of every April, we actually have Girls in ICT Days, which we celebrate. And we are very pleased that this year 2 regions joined forces, the Arab region and the CIS region, and we celebrated at the same time. And we see great following. I can also add that regions like the Americas, particularly the Caribbean, they've gone beyond parity. And the CIS region has reached parity.
Right.
There are others like Europe who are almost reaching parity. So that's progress for us.
Now, finally, I want to ask you, I mean, you've been at ITU for a number of years now. We've known each other for a number of years too, more than I'd like to say. But I wanted to ask you, what's been the most successful, or in your mind, development that has been in terms of either technology or in terms of progress over those years that you feel has made the most impact?
Well, I feel quite old when you say that.
That's why I'm not mentioning the amount of years into it. No, it's not that many. It's not.
That's why we said it. Yeah. ITU is the oldest UN agency, but it managed to survive the 2 world wars and epidemics and many challenges.
Exactly.
But having said that, I think it is also an asset to have been in the organization for a long time. I've seen it evolving, and I have seen the marginalized. For example, if you take a huge country like Congo, DRC.
Yes, indeed.
They had around 2001, 0.021 telephone lines per 100 inhabitants.
Right.
And when you go now, many of the people in rural areas and urban areas are connected. Of course, they still have this problem of being stuck at 2G or 3G.
Right.
While in Europe, they are switching off 3G for 5G and 6G, which will be coming very soon. Yeah. I would say that we have seen political will emerging. Many governments are putting in place strategies and incentives to make sure that most young people engage in innovative creations. So there are many startups that are emerging. The population is being educated as to the benefits of embracing digital. I have seen also costs going down at the device level as well as at the service level. So there is this awareness that if you want to go far, you need to embrace technology and ride on it and make sure that in whatever sector you will be benefiting thanks to the role of technology. In the past also we used to have a lot of instability, particularly on the African continent. The political instability, yes, civil strife. And now there is, fortunately, more stability. There are places here and there where you have some instability, but that is not really hindering or impacting technological development or implementation of projects.
Thank you so much. I mean, that brings us towards the end of this special episode where we explored the vision, the impacts and the global momentum behind WTDC 25, which, as I mentioned before, is happening the 17th to the 28th of November in Baku in Azerbaijan. A huge thank you to our guest, Dr. Cosmas Zavazava, for sharing his valuable insights and thoughts on how this conference is going to be driving development and more. If this conversation inspired you, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you'd like to learn more about WTDC 2025, although I think we've got into it in quite great depth there, but do visit our website at www.itu.inc/WTDC25. So Cosmas, thank you very much indeed for being with us today.
Thank you, Max. It's my pleasure.
Great. So until next time, do join us again. Thank you very much indeed. I'm Max Jacobson Gonzalez, and this has been an ITU digital production.